Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, simulcast of the Community Radio Network. Hey, by the way, it has been a while since we have been in the hot seat covering iRacing on LSRTV, but we are excited to have you back with us. Hopefully everybody had themselves a safe Labor Day weekend. And guess where we're at? The same place that I was at Saturday and Sunday is the virtual place that we're at tonight, the Darlington Raceway. It's the final race of the regular season for the drivers of the trucks. We're going to lock in the Fast 12. May the best driver win. It should be exciting. We're ready to bring it to you tonight from Darlington Raceway. Good evening. I am Wesley Outland. Joined alongside is Terry Radford, and joining us in the corners later on tonight will be Jason Rockefeller. Terry, I'll tell you what, if there's a racetrack, it could offer the excitement to decide who should go to the playoffs. No doubt about it. It's got to be Darlington Raceway.
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, two very distinctive corners. Turn one going into two's very wide, fast, sweeping corners. You go down into three, you're on the brakes. You're having to be a little more technical. It's a lot of give and take here, but Darlington takes a lot. The Lady in Black doesn't allow you to get away with certain things. If you touch the gas too hard, you're going in the wall. But man, it has been forever since we watched Paul Newton win at Watkins Glen, and it's dang good to be back for the Northwest Truck Series here with you, Wesley.
Yeah, it certainly is, man. It seems like it was a couple of weeks ago. It seemed like, of course, we had last Monday night the Cup race. That's the most recent Northwest competition we've had, as everybody's been kind of on that slump, lazy break of the Labor Day holiday. And again, now we settle in here for the final race. And then we move right into the playoffs. Jason Rockefeller, I give it to you now in your broadcast position between turns number 1 and 2 to the back straightaway, the Boeing back straightaway. That's going to be pretty exciting and fun to watch the racing. Your take of how those guys are going to progress around the egg-shaped over mile track, but that is the longer, wider, bigger version of the oval, if you will. It's definitely not as small as it is in the 3 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely, Wesley. It's going to be really crazy tonight. Turns 1 and 2, you're going to be really trying to arc it down to the corner. You want to get a little bit below the apron, sweep back up to the top of the wall, head into the center of 1 and 2, and off exit, you want to kind of dive it down to the bottom, kind of like diving in the corner like you would at some other tracks that are multi-group racing. But Darlington provides such an insanely amount of good racing, and then turns 3 and 4, you're just trying to hang on for dear life. It's not as fast as 1 and 2 would be. And fun fact for the folks at home, turns 3 and 4 is actually more narrow than 1 and 2, because the guy who owned the property back behind him, there's a lake or a little pond, I believe, outside turn 4, I believe, and they didn't want to build over the property, so they had to shorten the racetrack a little bit, make it narrow. So that's why 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are totally separate corners, but the Lady in Black should provide a very interesting race here before we hit the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He is exactly correct. As a matter of fact, Terry, I had to park my car in the media parking area right where that lake is at, just outside of turn 4, to come into the main grandstand area for my duties at Darlington this past weekend. So he's definitely hit the nail on the head. There is that lake, and in doing so, there's big signs posted. There's fence lines posted. There's lines that say do not cross, do not enter. And the reason why is because that is not property of the Darlington Raceway, and for some reason that water will never ever go anywhere. It's still there to this, and yeah, that makes that racetrack be the kind of egg-shaped, crazy similarity track that it is, Terry, for sure.
Yeah, I loved going to Darlington. I went there last season and watched an epic race at one of the most historic racetracks. And, you know, it's not the only track in that region that had some exciting news over the week, with North Wilkesboro getting an all-star race coming up next season, which is super awesome for the fans, super awesome for the NASCAR community as a whole to see grassroots racing coming back to NASCAR. And when you think grassroots racing, you think Darlington. You think of one of the oldest tracks. You think of the grittiest surface where the tires could scrub. On the pace lap, your tires are starting to degrade a little bit. So we'll see these drivers around here start to have a little bit of an issue. They're gonna be slipping. They're gonna be sliding. And that lake out there, I hear it's really good for fishing. Hopefully one day I'll get out there and fish there.
Yeah, piranhas for sure. Qualifying is ongoing right now. There's the Hot Wheels truck number 44, Dennis Moore. He settles in on the racetrack to take his qualifying time. So listen, this is round number 22. Tonight at Darlington Raceway, we're going to go 132 laps. 180 miles. That's the distance here tonight for the trucks. Now, again, they reset tonight. The Fast 12 will lock themselves in to race for the championship, which kicks off next Thursday night, mind you. The Cup drivers, they raced Darlington this past Monday night. They had a week off for Labor Day. They set up for round one of the playoffs this upcoming Monday. For these drivers, you had a week off for Labor Day, then you come back for the regular season finale here tonight at Darlington, and then you set yourself up, Terry, for 4 weeks straight. That includes tonight at Darlington, then another 4 weeks straight, so actually 5 weeks straight with Auto Club, Charlotte, Iowa, and then Texas to determine who goes out to the round of 8, and 4 are eliminated from there.
Well, you got to think with the week off, drivers spent time practicing. They started to understand what this track was going to do. For people that are familiar with the iRacing side, you know, this was official week last week, so there was nothing but Darlington all last week, heading into the week 13, which is technically this week with just, you know, Kansas. We won't touch that here in this side, but these drivers had a lot of time to practice on these fixed sets, so it's going to be interesting to see who went out, laid down quality laps here. I personally turned over 500-600 laps on this racetrack just trying to understand. I hit the wall quite a ton. I wrecked into the infield quite a bit. This is just the hardest track that I've ever driven on the iRacing platform, and I can just imagine what these drivers are going to do for 132 laps. I can't wait to see if Paul Newton can go back-to-back. Can Caden Anderson put on a clinic like he did at Richmond? This is, or can Cole Rass, who came back after missing a little bit, can he come back and rise to the top? It's a show that's going to play out very, very, very well.
Right now, Dennis Moore, as Rass gets it sideways off of turn number 8 back straightaway, flying through the air with his contact goes Frank Harris, and the Boeing back straightaway is what I meant to say. As those trucks will go back to their areas on the pit lane, there's 12 drivers right now that we know. Right now, you're Fast 12. Cole Raz, obviously 5 wins on the year, most of anybody. 3 wins tied also with Dennis Moore in second, Caden Anderson in third, Paul Newton with 3 wins. He's in 5th, along with Tyler King, who's been consistent with 8 top 5s and 15 top 10s to put him. Know those drivers are comfortable. If you're a drivers like, of course, Christopher White, Kevin Smith, Kenneth Garber, you're not safe. Evan Smith is at 11th in the points. He's got 2 wins on the year. But that's the thing, though. I mean, literally anything could happen. And then you got guys, Jason Rockefeller, when they come steaming your way in the green flag and one of them turns 2 in the back straightaway. If you're guys like Annenbacher, Ritters, Stabnow, I know you're outside the top 12, but if you play your cards right, you might have a shot too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I just talked about before during pre-race a few minutes ago, this track is a driver's track, and if you don't drive the racetrack, you're going to end up in the wall. We saw a lot of guys on Sunday in the NASCAR Cup Series race. I remember, I think, hearing Corey LaJoie say that this is a driver's racetrack, and it certainly is. Because it's not a track where you have to, you know, manage your tires or anything like that. You have to, I mean, it is a track you have to manage your tires, but you have to keep yourself out of that wall. If you can keep yourself out of that wall less than anybody else, I want to say that you have a very good shot at coming home tonight with a very good finish.
Starting lineup is posted. Let's give it to you real quickly for those on the radio call. Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson will make up number 1. Cole Raz, Ryan Bloom, row number 2. Row 3 will find Paul Newton and Stephen O'Hare. Row 4, Kevin Smith, Tyler King, Sean Brightsman, and Chris White. Radford, your top 10.
Got Casey Garber back there in 11th with Jeff Stabnell rounding out the top 6 rows with Brett Johnson and John Ottenbacher, and 13th and 14th respectively. Frank Harris, Carl Burt, and Toby Ritters, and Jaden Ledbetter rounds out top 18, Jason.
Yeah, and then going through the rest of the field, you have Brett Johnson right there. You have right there. Trying to remember where we are. the SDK is all messed up. 19th right now. You have BJ Tidrick. You have Aaron Cooper there, the 71 20th. Then you have Troy Daggett, in 21st. Ray Foreigner right there in 22nd. That number 26 machine. And then rounding out the field, 23rd and 24th, you have Chris Camere and Ron Hunter.
Yeah, that's the lineup as the field will get their one preliminary lap here. The lights are already off on the pace car. By the way, they're going to go 147 laps. That's the of what was the NASCAR Xfinity Series Sports Clips VFW 200 for the race on Saturday. One of a great battle between him and Kyle Larson, Sheldon Creed to the finish. 200 miles, just shy of miles. 147 laps is the distance. This is it. We're taking 12 from tonight. We'll have their opportunity for the 2022 running of the championship. By the way, Charles Wooten, who normally is our director, he is off tonight. He is handling, of course, Race on Texas, real broadcast obligations. And we have Mason Heimbaugh in the box, ready to go. Gentlemen, the pace car comes onto the pit lane. We're ready for 200 miles. The regular season finale is underway here at Darlington. Anderson, it is more. They are side by side, and that's the way they're going to go 2 by 2 as they go to the top of the bank and up into turn number 1.
Already some contact right there for Caden Anderson, dropping like a rock off turn number 2. He's able to gather it back up. He'll settle into 4th right now as they head into 3, but not a great start so far for the 37 of Caden Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson got in the wall right there. A little bit of help from the 44 more. That Hot Wheels machine throwing it back to Kyle Petty. And this is a beautiful throwback night for some of these drivers. The 25 and the 10 start to set up a battle. And now you can throw the 37 back in there. He's starting to charge back up to the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, these guys are going to try to single file out now after just one lap as they fly down that Darlington back straightaway. But you got to be really careful, though, on the restarts and stuff like that, especially during the middle of the race. You don't want to overdrive the corners too much because you could put yourself and other drivers in the wall.
Field works their way off of number 4 back down to the start-finish line. Couple of laps into it right now. It's Moore, Raz, Bloom, Anderson, O'Hare, the top 5. Here's the battle now creeping up in the top 10 between Chris White and Stabnell off turn 2.
Yeah, the 24 right there trying to just make a run at that number 6 of Chris White right now as they head into turn 3. Still single file as the 6 of White looks to the bottom. Just the 24 loose off turn number 4. Able to gather it back up right there.
Yeah, they're sliding every which direction so far at this racetrack. Tires already seem to become a problem as the setup on the rear end looks to slide a tad bit more. The 6 is going to fall back here to the edge of the top 10. He'll sit 10th right now, trying to make a run up here to Sean Breitzman.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, the 6 is just trying his hardest to get up to that 46 right now. Trying to just dive into the corner, but I talked about earlier, you don't want to dive it in too much because as these tires progressively wear out, you're going to risk yourself into hitting the wall there off the corners.
Field back across the start-finish line, and they're already back in turn number 1. That's on board with Dennis Moore. He's the leader. He's got Raz and Bloom looking at his deck lid off too.
Yeah, Moore's doing a really good job right now, continuing to lead by just a little over 0.8 of a second now as they head to 3 and 4, but they're battling behind them for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, 2nd and 3rd starting to heat up a little bit there. The 25 of Bloom, he tried to peek to the outside of Cole Raz, but Raz had none of it. Got to the bottom, was able to make it work, and now Caden Anderson starting to put the pressure back there on that Remington Ford F-150 in the 25. It's Cole, Caden Anderson, he's rim riding here off of 2.
Anderson right now is just trying to gain that track position that he lost on the start when Dennis Moore made contact with his truck heading through 1 and 2. He was able to collectively gather it back together, and right now he runs in 4th, but he's trying to run down the 3rd place driver right now as they head to 1.
Yeah, back across the start-finish line, it's Moore, Raz, Bloom, and Anderson for the most part. Everybody just kind of riding and driving up on the racetrack here, getting themselves a little loose for a moment is Smith. He'll save his truck. He holds on to that spot in front of King off 2.
Yeah, right now you just see these drivers on the racetrack. They're just racing this track like it's just a racetrack. As I said earlier, you have to drive this track. It's not a driver's track when it comes to your setup. You have to drive the racetrack as the conditions progress throughout the remainder of the night. You see these drivers starting to get loose just 8 laps into this front because Darlington eats up those tires. You really want to try to keep it together, keep yourself out of the wall, and hopefully you'll come home with a good finish here tonight.
You look at all board right here with Sean Breitzman and the number 46 Toyota trying to work to the outside here of Chris Wright. He's sitting in the ninth place position as Wright, but you look at Breitzman in the 10th place position trying to make it work on the outside, but not a whole lot of wheel input going there. He's tucked down here a little bit below the white line, back up to the wall, and he's maybe at some point in time a piece of paper in between him and that red and white wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, the 46, he's just trying to drive the racetrack. You see the 6 so far tonight. He looks to be the most aggressive driver out here. Chris White, a few weeks ago when I called the Richmond race, he did a really good job. Caden Anderson obviously put on a clinic that night, but the 6 was a driver that I told everybody to look out for during the broadcast, and here he is tonight doing just that, continuing to be aggressive, showing that he is a player here at Darlington tonight, and sure enough, he's driving the racetrack like it's the last lap every single lap.
10 laps on the board as the field works their way back out of number 4 this time back to the start-finish line. It is Dennis Moore. Battle continues between Chris Wright, Sean Breitzman, and Garber, and they've even changed up some of the wrap jobs for the finale as they work their way again. Jason, to you in 2.
Yeah, still single file right now as we take a look at Sean Breitzman in the 46, just trying to continuously make a run at that 6. As the 6 looks to the bottom of Kevin Smith into turn number 3, he'll go all the way to the bottom, trying to make sure that he's able to grip the top. Not enough, though. The 00 is able to keep that position on 4.
00 keeps the position. The 6 of Wright, he's going to go down to the bottom. It's not going to be able to make that pass stick. The outside is predominantly the fastest lane around this racetrack, but Kevin Smith has been one of the best ones we've seen so far early on in this run, laying some very fast lap times down. His last time by, he ran a 30.4. He's 2/10 off of what the leader's running at the moment.
Leaders work off of turn number 4, back to the start-finish line. It is, of course, Moore the leader. That's Smith. Remember, one of those drivers that are kind of on the bubble on the outside of the Fast 12. He's currently in the 10th spot. He needs to have a solid run. White right behind him. That goes on for position off of turn 2.
Yeah, the 00 is just trying to keep the 6 behind him. Like I said earlier, the 6 is just being so aggressive here early on. Would not be surprised if he starts falling like a rock here as the run progresses because of how much he's burning those tires up, just trying to get to the bottom every time and sliding the tires there off the corners. But right now, if I were Kevin Smith, I would just continue to drive the racetrack like he's been doing here these first 14 laps, and hopefully he does have a solid night here tonight because, Leslie, you said he's outside looking in, and he needs a good night here tonight at Darlington.
He indeed needs a good night here at Darlington. And a lot of these drivers are starting to back the pace up a tad bit. You see the lap times right here on the drop down of the screen, 30.42 for your race leader, and everybody else behind him sort of kind of mismatching times. Cole Raz, that time set a fast time. He was the fastest driver on the racetrack that last lap, but only by 5/100ths of a second. So not really making a whole lot of time up, Wesley, as they come into 3 and 4.
Yeah, they're working their way single file. They still stay on now the short part of the egg racetrack here at Darlington. By the way, that goes to about 15 degrees of banking from 25 degrees up to Jason's view in turn number 1 and 2. All stay single file, flashing across the start-finish line. And this battle between White, Breitzman, Garber, best on the racetrack behind Smith out of 2.
Yeah, they're continuing to just be single file right now. Everybody is just trying to figure out how do we even pass right now, because it's so tough here to pass in Darlington. As you see the 6 looking to the outside of the 00 white, Kevin Smith makes a run at Paul Newton down into 3 on the bottom.
Last week's winner doing a marvelous job in the top 7, starting to slide off of the corner there, off of turn number 4. The 6 is starting to get a challenge from the 46 of Sean Breitzman. And Casey Garber, he's right here in the party, waiting on one of them to slip.
Yeah, right now these guys, like I said before, continuing to be single file. Like I said beforehand, this track is so hard to pass at. If you see a driver slip up, you got to be really careful on how you make your move to pass. As we see the 00, Kevin Smith goes to the bottom, nearly 3 wide there, heading into 3. But all 4, they continue to battle for position. That's for 7th between Paul Newton and Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that battle close to 3 wide. Now they fan back out single file just as fast as they do it again. Here comes the W entry. Chris White, series champion for the Cup cars last year, now makes his run on Newton and Smith out of turn 2. It's a 2-for-1 off the Boeing back straightaway.
Smith is just trying everything he can do in his power to get around the 27 in the 6. Look to the bottom, saw the 00 coming, will had to back up the entry there into turn 3, and they're still off for the 27 slides. Here comes the 00, Kevin Smith looking to the inside again through 1.
Goes to make the pass, but the 00 is gonna be, he's gonna be a little bit more timid as they almost make contact there through turns 1 and 2. The 6 has an awesome view. Here's they're sideways. Chris Wright gets into the back of him. Paul Newton is loose. Kevin Smith is loose, and Chris Wright's along for the ride.
And somehow those trucks hold their momentum as they work their way back across off turn 4 to start finish. Chris White and his Fords are on board with him for those that are watching. Now hugs the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get something started besides running the top side of the racetrack, Jason. And somehow or another, he's probably checking to see if he's got any damage on that truck, as that was a scare a moment ago off turn 2.
Yeah, Chris White was just trying to make a move there, but Kevin Smith and Paul Newton were side by side off turn number 2, and the 6 of Chris White had to back up his exit, and he got to the back of Kevin Smith, I believe it was, off turn number 2, but they're continuing to be single file as they head into 1.
Yeah, still single file here. Not a whole lot of battles going on. You want to wait until maybe you start getting the tires a little bit more worn in. 21 laps here. These things are really starting to holler as the 00 makes contact with the 6. They all save it. Breitzman's in the wall. He's down low. He saves that machine. Sean Breitzman should get the Wheel Man of the Race award for that one.
The Brights Boutique number 46 machine just gave us a scare. While that goes on, Newton sideways as they work off turn number 4. He couldn't close in on Smith. This battle heats up for position. White now back on the high horse. He's after those trucks out of 2.
Yeah, that really played in a benefit factor for Kevin Smith, able to get another position there. As we talked about, he needs a good night, but Paul Newton is under fire from Chris White behind him. Here comes White, powering down to the bottom of the racetrack through 3, wrapping that apron right there, but the 27's able to power it out off turn 4.
Not too sure that I would pass that 27 of Newton on the bottom because he is loose. He was sideways off of 4, corrected it to the start-finish line. Now here comes the 94. That's Casey Garber. He's going to pull the slide job in front of the 6 of Wright. Oh my gosh. How is Chris White still holding on to this thing? He just got slided by the 94, almost wrecked with the 27, and he's still sitting here in P10. It's now the 94. He's going to slide the 27 too.
Yeah, you can say there's been a wiggle and a jiggle and a giggle and a bobble, and they still hold it together as here comes Garber back down to the inside. He'll make the move on the Ray Bestis Brakes lookalike truck of Newton. Also, here comes the W number 6. That's going to be Chris White. Somehow or another, they still hold it single file, but that is the best battle. Continued fiercely 10 laps, Jason, off turn 2.
I tell you what, Casey Garber was saying thank you to the 27 and 6 for battling so hard, and I would not be surprised if he ends up catching Kevin Smith right now, because those trucks were battling so hard. I would not be surprised even remotely, because they were just burning up their tires so much, and Casey Garber is on the move right now. He's up 3 spots from where he started at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at their lap times, and they ran very slow, 31.7, 31.8, and that is well off of the times that they were running. They're almost 2 seconds slower than what they were to start this race 20 25 laps to go. As you look back here with Daggett and Ritter, they're fighting for the 15th position. The 99 is going to take it low. The 7's going to be against the wall and move Daggett up to the 14th position off of 4.
Final race of the regular season, getting in trouble. 99 Troy Daggett, he fishtailed off the corner out of turn 4. Car was cocked sideways. He'll hold it, keep on going, back up to make it out of turn number 2 on lap 25.
The 99 right there, he slapped the inside wall actually coming off turn 4 there. A great job by that truck to keep it off, or from spinning out there off turn number 4. Now obviously he's got left side damage there. Don't know how badly that's going to affect the truck right now. But as we jump back now, this is the battle for what looks to be the 13th, 14th position between Brett Johnson and Jeff Stabnow, along with the 23 of Toby Ritters there. This battle continues to heat up out of turn number 4.
Yeah, Stabnow's getting stalked by Johnson in the number 7 machine, and Ritters is waiting to capitalize as well. He's going to try to pull the KC Garber approach, where drivers start to battle in front of you. You sit back, you're patient, you're not really wanting to get the go right at that moment. We'll see if the 23 gets past that number 7 Coca-Cola machine, but Jeff Stabnow has a little damage there on that right side, Wesley. That could hurt the performance down the road.
Yeah, all this working their way across the racetrack as they work off of turn number 4 back to the start-finish line. Now, here comes another battle heating up off the Boeing back straightaway. That's the 24, Jeff Stabnow. He's got company with Brett Johnson, the Coca-Cola truck, setting his sights as they work their way off of turn number 4, and all the while, it is still Dennis Moore, the leader. Here comes now Stabnow. There's the leader, Dennis Moore. Raz is in second. He's trying to reel him in. That goes on as they go into turn number 3.
Cole Raz has been running down Dennis Moore for the last few laps. Been looking at the lap times. Cole Raz is nearly a little bit over a 10th faster than Dennis Moore. I talked about earlier, driving the racetrack and maintaining those tires, not hitting the wall. And Cole Raz has been able to catch up to Dennis Moore. He's right on the back bumper here as they head off turn number 2. Lap truck in the way. How is that going to be a factor? We'll see right here. Down to turn number 3. The 10 looks to the bottom of the racetrack. He's battling Dennis Moore for the lead as they head through 4.
It was 2/10 faster that time for Cole Raz over Dennis Moore. The 44 machine is looking a little unstable here, as now he's going to hold the 10 off for this time being. We throw lap 32 on this board here. 44 is working as hard as possible. I'm sorry, lap 31 on the board. He's trying to hold him off as much as possible, boys, but I don't know, that 10's very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Terry, for sure. Cole Razno just looking for a way around the 44 of Moore, which Moore does have some right front damage from when he made contact with Caden Anderson in the 37 there on lap 1 through 1 and 2. I wonder if that's playing a factor into wearing that right front tire as they head through 1 and 2. Cole Raz continuing to just stalk your leader, Dennis Moore, as they fly off 2, go to the bottom, come back out to the wall. They continue to be squirrely off these corners because of the tires wearing out. But Raz is right on the back bumper, looking to the inside again for 3 and 4 on Moore.
Raz back on the bottom of the racetrack as they exit off of turn number 4, down to the start-finish line. Look at this move, a little razzle-dazzle. Raz on the outside, back to the inside. He's got the run on Dennis Moore, looking for the lead as Moore slams the wall out of turn number 1.
Moore slaps the wall there in the center of the corner. The 10 of Cole Raz is able to pull away. The 44 heavy right front damage as if it wasn't enough already from the contact with Anderson there in the first lap, and this has opened up the door for Ryan Bloom in that 25 car truck. He is reeling in second place driver Dennis Moore, who is continuing to slap the wall off turn number 4. Here comes the 25 of Bloom to the bottom of them into 1.
So those are big problems right here for the 44 Moore, who has led the majority of the laps so far, led from the start until about a lap ago where Cole Raz got around him. Cole Raz is a 5-time winner this season, and this would be the last thing that Dennis Moore or Caden Anderson or Tyler King or Paul Newton wants to see is more points going into the breadbasket of Cole Raz in that number 10 machine, because, well, he's been fast everywhere. He's won 5 times here. Can he make it 6 tonight? We're going to find out in 110 more laps.
Yeah, Cole Raz right now. Great job by reeling in the number 44 of Dennis Moore. And Dennis, unfortunately, just continuing to fall back further and further. He's almost about half a second slower, if not more, than the leaders right now. As you look at a battle right now, which looks to be, I believe, the 41 that I'm not too sure. Checking right now. That is Stephen O'Hare right there, along with the 21 of Tyler King. They continue to just slice and dice right now. The 41, though, not able to get up to the back bumper of Tyler King yet, but he sails it into 1 and 2, taps the wall. He's in the wall into turn number 2, able to gather it back up. Here comes Caden Anderson, though. He'll look to the bottom of the racetrack on the 41 of O'Hare, and he'll clear him down into turn number 3, maybe. Yes, almost, but they're still side by side, not able to clear him yet.
Off of turn number 4, there's Anderson. He'll clear the truck of Stephen O'Hare, move him now into another solid spot in the top 5. It's Raz, Bloom, Moore, King, and Anderson. We're going to go side by side so you do not miss a thing. And for those that are listening on CRN, we will pause for 10 seconds of radio identification. We'll be back with more coverage from Darlington in a moment. The final race of the Northwest Racing Series regular season. We're back from Darlington next.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing. All from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the world of outlaws, Aussie supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
40 laps in now when they come back, start finish line. Welcome back to coverage from Darlington Raceway, round 22 of the regular season finale. Cole Raz is now the leader. You're looking now at Tendrick's machine, the number 72.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online
What's
racing
going
game.
on? What's going on? We back, Mason? Are we back? Okay, sorry about that. 40 laps in now. Officially, Tendrick now continues to now grow into the top 10. He sets his side on Chris White. That's the best battle, looks like, showing on the racetrack as they work their way off of turn number 4, back down to the start-finish line. Raz, Bloom, Moore, Anderson, King, your top 5. Jason, they send it off into turn 1.
The 72 of BJ Tendrick right now, reeling in the 6 of Chris White right now. He's been a little bit faster, if not half a second faster that last time around as they work down the back straightaway. BJ Tendrick up 10 spots from where he started in the beginning of the race. He is he's just plowing his way through this field and doing a great job of it as they work off turn 4. The 72 reeling in the 6 for the 9th spot.
Yeah, that 72's been coming up through the field rather quickly. He's up 10 positions so far, as he's going to be on the right on the back bumper of White. As now they're coming through 1 and 2 down to the Boeing back straight away.
Yeah, the 72 is just trying to look for a way around. Chris White talked about it earlier. It's so hard to pass here. You want to make sure that when you're going to pass a driver that you're able to clear him heading off the corner, because you don't want to be side by side. It really stalls out your momentum. But right now, we head back up to the front of the field. Stephen O'Hare right now trying to reel back in Caden Anderson there in the 4th spot as they work around 1 and 2. The 41 right up against the wall, dives it back down. But here comes Tyler King. He's looking to play up in the mix right there with those 2 drivers. They head into turn number 3.
All of this going on now with Anderson, who has now just got around O'Hare and King a moment ago. He moves to the number 4 spot. And there you see the 41 of O'Hare. He's now got some company behind him as his teammate King, American touch-up right there, going after Anderson, but not for long here as we're closing in on 100 laps to go at Darlington. They're off of 2.
Right now, Anderson is able to just maintain that position, but the last couple laps, Stephen O'Hare, or Stephen O'Hare, or yeah, just O'Hare in general, has been able to reel in Caden Anderson there about a 10th faster than him as he wraps around 3 and 4 right now to the top side. Should be able to get the run here off 4 down the straightaway.
Well, the 41 has been a rocket ship so far, but don't look now. There goes King as well. He's creeping into the picture. He's starting to reel these two in, and when they get side by side, that could really play some big dividends of when the pit stops are going to happen, because if you let somebody by now, Jason, well, your pit stop's going to be a little shaky.
Yeah, absolutely there, Terry, for sure. And Darlington is one of the most difficult places to get onto pit road. We've talked about Dover before in the past on broadcasts I've been on, but I want to say here that Darlington, in my opinion, is probably the hardest pit road to get onto. It's all the way down practically to the infield in the middle of 3 and 4, so you want to be able to get into the corner there and slow it up just enough to where you can have a great entry. But we've seen a lot of guys here in the Cup Series and all series, and iRacing in general, guys will just miss the pit road line completely, or they're just speeding, or hell, sometimes they even just spin there off the corner through turn 4. But right now it's a question of when these drivers will start pitting, because did you see right there, the 24 looked to be Jeff Stabnow got into the wall into turn number 1. He keeps it to the inside of the racetrack, no caution, able to gather it back up, losing multiple spots right now. He is a driver who's probably going to be pitting here pretty soon. But like I was saying, you want to be real easy coming to pit road, and here comes the 24 now. This could open up the door for green flag pit stops here as we're on lap 47.
Yeah, Stabnow might have used up his tires. Here comes the Billings, Montana 24. He does not need to be in this predicament right now of pitting. Obviously, he doesn't want to make any mistakes on the pit lane either. And Terry, that's another thing we didn't even really reiterate or talk about. The pits, the entrance, the exit. It is a very tight, narrow pit road here at this egg-shaped track at Darlington. You got to be on your marks for sure.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and you have to think that there's multiple layers to this pit lane. You have going down on the apron. You really have to be straight. You have to have a straight entrance coming onto pit lane. Well, then it also curves at one point in time in here. So you get on there and you curve, and it's a blinding curve. People tend to make contact right there. So you could block pit lane. You could get damage on this pit lane as well. So we'll start to see who is the first domino to fall in this top 10. It's going to make the leaders want to come and pit, because you could potentially, if you saved your tires like Cole Rass has, he might be able to make this a one-stopper.
Well, we've seen Troy Daggett come down to the pit lane. Jeff Stabnow has pitted. I'm also thinking Ledbetter, Chris Camary, also trucks coming to the pit lane. Here comes now Tyler King, Kevin Smith, John Ottenbacher. All of these trucks coming to the pit lane as right now Cole Rass continues to lead at lap number 49 as we approach lap number 50. They're working their way back in front of you in turn number 3. All the while, it is still Raz and Bloom. All of this happening. You see the interval now between, on the top ticker, the distance of everyone. Drivers that are pitting, it will say pit. And another thing, Jason, as we throw it back to you with Anderson on board, you better make good stops in green flag trim, because you will go a lap down, and hopefully not more than that unless you have mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. You also don't want to be on pit road at the time of a caution, because you could be trapped a lap down, and then you might not even be able to get the lucky dog. You might have to take the wave around. You could really, really, really hurt yourself here at this race tonight at Darlington. As you see one truck right there, I believe that's the 72 of BJ Tidrick. He missed his pit box completely, had to back it up. But yeah, like I was saying, you don't want to be on pit road at the time of the yellow and trapped a lap down, because you could hurt your chances at having a great finish tonight. But we continue to see more drivers pit as the 00 just came out of the pits right there. That is Kevin Smith. And now you're going to see drivers here, for the folks watching at home, you're going to see drivers just try to just work their way up through the field past the drivers who are on the lesser, or the more worn tires. It's going to be a big difference. We talked about it last time I was on the broadcast at Richmond. But these drivers are going to have to be able to maneuver the guys on the worn tires for the ones that are on fresh ones.
And while all this happens, Terry Radford, another thing that we got to keep in mind, these green flag pit stops does nothing but jumble up the entire field into a solid circle around the Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, and that's where the problems can ensue. You'll start to see, if you're watching at home on YouTube, you'll see that there is only about less than a quarter of this track does not have a car on it at the moment. It's one driver going into one. The leader's already touching the start-finish line, so the 23 sitting right back here, he's got the leader breathing down his neck. One bobble, the 10 of Cole Raz is there. He's lapped a bunch of drivers, but with the drivers on fresh tires, they're going to come blowing by them over 20 miles an hour faster. There are 2 seconds in distance quicker than the leaders who are not on new tires. So we'll see here as the 69's in the wall right in front of the leader. That's scary because, well, that could have been his race.
Yeah, that was actually John Odenbacher in the 89, though. Big save for him as he's now trying to get around Raz and Smith. Lap down trucks, faster trucks overtaking the lead machines. All this happening now as they work their way off of turn number 4. Put 55 laps on the scoreboard. Odenbacher, bonsai down below the bottom of the apron of the racetrack. He saves it. They go back off into turn number 1.
Crazy saves tonight off turn number 4. Lots of drivers getting loose on the older tires. But right now continues to be Cole Raz at the front of the field with Ryan Bloom and Dennis Moore. That's your podium top 3 right there. But again, we talked about the drivers on fresher tires. They want to try to get around the lappers as quick as possible because this is the hardest place to try and pass a driver. As you see right now, how much faster for folks watching at home. The 24 just flew by the 53 right there of Carl Burke, and you just see him right now flying around the corners. Right now, Dennis Moore is coming into the pit, so I could just imagine that Cole Raz or any of these guys right now are going to start the pit here pretty soon.
More pit stops underway. There's Sean Brightsman. We remember the scare he had earlier in the 46. He's now in a solid top 10 run. He's in 8th as Moore gets bypassed on the scoring pylon by those trucks as they go into turn 1.
Yeah, Moore is just on pit road. He wants to try to execute it completely well. And here comes the 37 of Caden Anderson pitting from the 4th spot right now. Wants to try to execute this stop pitch perfectly here as he heads down the front straightaway, getting ready to pull down into his pit box. But right now, Caden Anderson, as I said before with Dennis Moore, you want to execute pretty perfectly. But other drivers coming into the pits. Casey Garber, the 94, Brett Johnson, 7. Your leader, Cole Raz, is in now. Will he have a great stop and maintain the lead here as he comes off pit road after he takes his stop?
You also have to think, boys, that with these drivers who stayed on these old tires, the drivers who tried to undercut them, that came down on a lap 56 or a lap 50, well, they gained a ton of time in this. So what's the lead for Cole Raz going to look like? What's the lead for Stefan O'Hare going to look like? Are one of these drivers going to jump over them here? Because you got to think, guys like Tyler King, Dennis Moore, who's still sitting 6th, Caden Anderson sitting 7th. They've laid down some very fast lap times, so this pit entrance, pit exit is going to be crucial for Cole Raz and these leaders to maintain their lead spot.
O'Hare now puts his 41 machine onto the pit lane. He was the most recent leader of the race. Now Tyler King will shuffle back around to the top spot. All this going on is more drivers have yet to pit. There is King. He will now be scored as the leader when he gets back around to the start-finish line in that Team ASE Racing entry. American Touch-Up. Peels Oranges number 21. I'm digging the wrap job on some of these trucks now as King moves to the lead. Raz in 2nd. Moore, O'Hare is going to be 2nd, but he's going to go down as all these other leaders are going to start passing them, and this all happens down the back straightaway. But as they work their way to turn number 3, Terry, I got to throw it back to you. I'm digging these wrap jobs on these trucks. It's kind of like our throwback race for Darlington for the Northwest Truck Series tonight.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, you look around, you think, I think when I see the 72, I think Ralph Earnhardt. I think of the all white with a little bit of touch of red on it. You look at the 6, you think a little Mark Martin. I mean, there's throwbacks galore on this racetrack. You got a Kyle Petty throwback, and, well, I can't quote exactly what Dale Jr. said on the Dale Jr. download, but what does Kyle Petty got to do with it? Anyhow, but a lot of these drivers embracing the history of Darlington, and I'm hoping, Wesley, you being a media member in the NASCAR community, hopefully when they go to North Wilkesboro for that All-Star race, that they throw some special paint schemes on that to go back to the last time we raced here back in 1996.
I think they certainly will. I mean, I know there was a lot of hype building up to that. And by the way, as one of the guys that was involved in the announcing team, disappointed that we didn't put dirt on North Wilkesboro. But you got to realize, guys, that as we looked in the stream of things, watching stuff from the first race in August and being a part of that to all that culminated last Wednesday night with the big Cars Tour event with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Racing. The powers that be knew if we take the dirt, if we rip the pavement off of this place and make it dirt, it's going to be a travesty. We need to consider preserving it. And the powers that be that needed to be there, that made the big announcement today in Raleigh, they were there. And I was just surprised that it happened quick as it did. I was thinking maybe 2024, but wow. It's going to be a fun time to celebrate the 75th anniversary of NASCAR, going back to one of its true grassroots tracks. It's not raced at a track since 1996 at Wilkesboro. And another one big in the NASCAR news is, of course, it sounds like Kyle Busch will be joining Richard Childress Racing as well. We got Tyler King. He's leading the way. Dennis Moore in that number 2 spot. There you see the 44 as he's got Brightsman and Johnson. That battle going on in front of them as they work their way into turn number 1.
Yeah, Dennis Moore is continuing to march towards the front, towards that P1 spot on Tyler King. He's running a little bit faster lap times than him right now. But as you look right now down the back straightaway and into 3, the 44 and the 46 drive right by the number 7 of Brett Johnson. He's currently a lap down, looking to try to hope for a caution so he can get that lucky dog. But they're single file down the front straightaway here as we're on lap 66 heading for 1.
Yeah, you see a lot of these drivers right at the moment. They're not as loose as we saw them before the pit stop. They have a little bit fresher rubber on here. But look now. The 44 of Moore jumped back to 2nd. Bloom jumped up to 3rd. Cole Raz has slipped down to P4. He has not been the best on fresh tires. As you see the battle going on here, he's needed some laps to work on those Goodyear Eagles and to get him up there to potentially charge. He had a 5-second lead when he came down pit lane, so we'll see what he does as they roar into turn number 1.
Yeah, Cole Raz right now, though, we're on board with him from the passenger side of the truck. He's just right now trying to look for a way around Ryan Bloom in that number 25 machine down the back straightaway, just being very patient right now, trying to not scuff up the right side tires or anything like that. Just see him wrap around the bottom in 3 and 4, continuing to march for that 3rd place spot on board.
All of this happening now as they cross the start-finish line. Another lap on the board. Lap number 67 will go up on the scoreboard. And mind you, as we also approach halfway, there has been no issues yet for a yellow flag. Quite a long green flag run of this race, no matter of fact, with Tyler King, Dennis Moore, Ryan Bloom. And as I say that, oh my goodness, we about just got him loose a moment ago. What a save. Still no harm, no foul. When we stay green is, look at this now, Daggett going after Raz. More lap trucks in front of fast trucks. Jason, I heard you go, oh, they save it. They go back to turn 1. We still stay green.
I cannot believe that they were able to save those trucks into turn number 3. They were pretty much wrecked. I cannot believe that they did not spin out. But as I say that, the 99 sideways off the corner, he is heavy damage on that right side truck. Would not be surprised right here as he heads to the apron. He's looking to come to pit road to try to fix that damage. That's the number 99 of Daggett as he flies around in that Havoline Ford, what looks to be, as he heads down pit road. He's going to have a lot of damage to fix right here. And here he comes down pit road, hoping to get as much repairs done as he can. That's a Toyota, I want to mind the fact. But right now, just what a great race we've had so far here tonight. These drivers slipping and sliding. But right now, it's all Tyler King at the front of the field. No cautions yet. Will we see any more?
And you have to think, if that was the next-gen car, he probably would have busted a toe link, maybe thrown out a rod. Something would have happened to that right side of that car, because that was a very heavy hit for that machine. And man, I didn't think that the 21 would do what he's doing right now, flipping it off pit road and coming into his own, having a 3-second lead. And mind you, it's starting to close down a little bit as the 44 of Moore is almost 0.7 of a second faster than our race leader back there in P2.
Yeah, right now, Dennis Moore just marching towards the front right now. He's able to crack it down under 3 seconds right now. He ran a 30.46 last time around. Your leader, Tyler King, ran a 31.15. But off turn number 2 right there, we have a battle between the 21 and the 46 now as they head into the corner. And the 46 is able to get by the 21 as they head through 3 and 4.
Brightsman will clear that truck machine there of course, King. Tyler King, the faster machine right now. And Brightsman now clearing away from him. It is Tyler King, the leader. Dennis Moore in second. Ryan Bloom third. 31.47, 30.48, 30.62. That's the way they were. And it's still King leading this now. Here comes now a change-up as Stephen O'Hare gets around Chris White for that spot off turn 2.
Yeah, the 6 right now just dropped back a little bit. The 41 has been really fast here tonight. Stephen O'Hare done a great job. I love that number 6 Mark Martin throwback. Always loved that paint scheme. Wish I could have gotten to see it, but obviously I was not born yet. But just love, you said before, Wesley, these trucks look so beautiful here tonight, especially that number 6 W truck right there, driven by Chris White. I actually have that.
See, you guys think of Mark Martin, Terry and Jason. Do you know what I see when I see that truck? I think of Rick Corelli when he raced in the Truck Series back in the day. So that just shows how old I am. As mind you, we are halfway here, 100 miles down at Darlington, Terry.
No, I see it. I see it now. I think you think the Valvoline car. Yeah, Rick Corelli. What a throwback. What an absolute throwback. I remember my grandfather had a bunch of Rick Corelli stuff, and just watching some of his tape. Yeah, that's good. That's a good throwback. That's a good part of history of the sport.
And mind you, Jason, unveiling how old I am again as the leaders go back into turn number 1.
Yeah, right now, Dennis Moore continuing to lead. You see the 89 right now, though, John Ottenbacher. He's just battling right now with the 46, who's just continuing to try to march towards the front. He'll let him out of the way, but not to mind the fact he gets loose out of turn number 2. Great save by him tonight. A couple great saves by John Ottenbacher there as they head through 3 and 4 with the 46, continuing to try to lay some fast laps down. He's trying to march his way back towards the front.
Yeah, that's
halfway home so far, Terry, in this race. My apologies. Let's give them the full field rundown as it stands right now. Terry and myself will, as it is Dennis Moore, the leader. Tyler King in second. Ryan Bloom third. Caden Anderson fourth. Cole Raz is fifth. Stephen O'Hare is sixth. Chris White seventh. Tindrick is eighth. Smith is ninth. And Casey Garber in his Chevrolet right now the top 10. And if you're looking at the manufacturer rundown, it is currently in the top 10. 4 Fords and 4 Chevrolets and 6 Fords.
You got Sean Brightsman sitting there in 11th with Brett Johnson in 12th. Frank Harris 13th. Toby Ritter's 14th. John Ottenbacher 15th. Ray Foreigner in 16th. Jeff Stabnell 17th. Jaden Ledbetter 18th. Chris Cormier and 19th. Troy Daggett 20th. And rounding out the final 4 of the field, Carl Burke, Paul Newton, Ron Hunter, and Aaron Cooper is your full field rundown. And hey, by the way, I pulled up the 1998 Rick Corelli scheme, the Remax. That's him, the Lumineer.
Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, I got that die cast. It's on my back shelf back here of Rick Corelli's 98 Remax Chevy.
There you go.
That's a good one. I got it sitting right back yonder.
Well, in a throwback night, if you will, of course, in this final race. Jason Rockefeller, great job calling the action in turn 1 and 2. We're halfway through in the first 100 miles. Obviously, Dennis Moore still leading over Ryan Bloom, Anderson, King, and Raz, the top 5 coming back to start finish. But what's your take of this race so far? Now 80 laps in next time by, and we've been caution free.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked right now. We've seen so many close calls for a handful of laps ago for the folks watching home and the folks listening on the radio. Had an accident into turn number 3. I cannot believe that those 3 trucks were able to save it. They were slamming. They were probably going about 40 miles an hour, creeping around 3 and 4. Cannot believe that they were able to save it. But Wesley, to go back to your point, tonight's race has been great. Seen a lot of drivers swapping positions constantly. It's a hard track to pass. They don't call it too tough to tame for nothing. I mean, because it's the lady in black. She'll bite you, just like the Monster Mile does at Dover. I like to compare this track to Dover, honestly. Just it's a little bit harder to drive, you know, multiple group racing, tighter racing in my opinion, because of how narrow these turns are. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4 drive totally different than most racetracks that you see in an oval shape. But even better, this track is shaped like an egg shape because of the lake over in turn 4. But tonight's race, though, has been so good as we hit lap 82, and Dennis Moore doing a great job back out front right now. So far, just great racing, but wouldn't keep out anything of a caution coming out because it very well could happen because Darlington's pretty unpredictable.
And mind you, Terry Radford, as we approach now closing in on 100 laps and the final 50 laps of not only this race tonight at Darlington, but the regular season, you gotta wonder when people's patience is gonna start to go to a boiling point, and you gotta make what moves are needed to try to make it into that fast 12.
Well, I mean, if I was racing this race, my patience had already been over. I'm gonna be real with you here. I don't have very many patience for people when it comes to racing. But you look at the drivers that are right on the cut line of that fast 12. You got Kevin Smith, Kenneth Garber, John Ottenbacher, and Toby Ritters. They're all having very good runs here so far. You look at 8th place position where Tedrick is sitting there. He's not fighting for the position, but he's in a spot to take points away from some of these drivers that are right there on that cut line. So if you're one of these drivers that maybe just need to flip track position a little bit, maybe do the undercut. Cole Raz got bit by it. He's sitting in 4th. He was the race leader at one point in time, and he was on a cruise control, you must say. But now it's just going to be who's going to come pit first, because, you know, you're closing in to just going into the playoffs now. You have to be on your A game.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Cole Raz right now, you saw those drivers that are in the top 3 right now pit earlier than Cole, and Cole went from being 1st all the way down to 4th, and because of this track eating up tires and you having to drive the racetrack like I talked about earlier in the broadcast, these tires eventually equal out over time. Those drivers like Cole Raz, when he probably came out of the pits, he ran as fast as he could, picked up a few positions, but Dennis Moore and Caden Anderson were just up at the front of the field. And we have a caution right now. That's, oh no, that's Kevin
Trouble
Smith.
Front straightaway. Kevin Smith with a problem. The Walla Walla, Washington native, the driver that is number 11 in the point standings, with 2 wins on the year, has a problem coming off of turn number 4, and the yellow flag will fly for the first time here tonight on lap number 85. So the caution for the 00, and here is your replay. Look at this, Terry, in front of us. He just lost it off the corner. Overcorrected, slapped the outside safer wall barrier right before he got to the start-finish line. And you saw him draw the caution.
Welcome to Darlington. That's happened every lap, but he's the first one to lose it. You're going to run out of lucks. It's like a cat with 9 lives. Eventually, you're going to run out. Your luck's going to stop, but everybody's on pit lane, so this was a breath of fresh air for every driver coming. Still in the lead lap. Oh my gosh. The only one so far that has stayed out, BJ Tedrick. He has stayed out on this racetrack, last pitted on lap 50. I wonder if this is maybe just a mind game, just like, hey, I'm just kidding, boys, I'm not staying out for real, because he's gonna get just mollywopped out here.
Gotta realize everybody is coming down the pit lane. Here's a look at it one more time on the replay. And well, I'm sorry, this was actually after they cooled down, after the accident had happened. There you go. Stab now was running down the 00 of Smith, but yeah, this was actually after Kevin Smith had his problems. Let's go back to live action. They are all on pit road. The entire cavalry is coming in. You're thinking 4 tires. You're thinking fuel. Any adjustments you need to make? Could this possibly be the money stop here now, Terry Radford?
I hope not. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm hoping for a little bit more beating and banging, just an all-out, knockdown, drag-out fight at Darlington, because that's what makes these short tracks the best. That's what makes them fun, in my opinion. BJ Tedrick did end up coming down pit lane, so Dennis Moore will assume the race lead with Caden Anderson and Cole Raz, your top three, but I don't think this is the money stop. I expect to see, since we bunched them back up, drivers who are on the cusp of getting the free pass are going to be just a tad bit more ambitious, as you would say, when they send it down into turn 1 or into turn 3. Wesley, this show is far from over. We've got plenty of racing left.
What are you thinking over there in the corner, Jason Rockefeller?
Well, these guys haven't been side by side since the start of the race, and we saw what happened to Caden Anderson and Dennis Moore, and believe it or not, these guys are going to line up right next to each other on this restart here. This is considered to be round 2 for these guys, and I can just imagine if I were Caden Anderson, I would probably be a little bit more careful with the 44 entering turns 1 and 2. I mean, the 37 right there into the corner, he just basically got cleaned out by the 44 through 1 and 2. But again, if I were the 37, keep your cool, make sure that you're able to give enough room, but you know, the 44 has to give some room too. This is the first time these guys, like I said, are going to be side by side, and they're going to re-rack them, restack them, and go green flag racing here in just a handful of laps. I would expect these guys to be jostling for position off turn number 2, heading on the back straightaway and into 3.
And while we're under caution, we will step away. We're back with more from Darlington in just a moment. Yellow flag. Welcome back to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, the Community Radio Network simulcast. Wesley Outland, Terry Radford in the tower here at Darlington Raceway at the Lady in Black. We've got Jason Rockefeller in turn number 1 and Mason Heimbaugh punching the buttons in the wee night hours of midnight Eastern time. Green flag goes back in the air, and the field comes back to the Geico restart zone, and it is quickly Moore, Anderson, and Raz. Super Friends running down the 44. Beaver State driver, they go into turn number 1.
Yeah, Moore right there, just able to get the jump through the Geico restart zone. Caden Anderson not going to have contact there off turn number 2, or into turn number 1, I should say. But right now, single file, heading down the back of the race. Caden Anderson, though, your Richmond winner just a few weeks ago. He's looking for the race lead, trying to run down Dennis Moore off 4.
Hey, you look at the top 3 endpoints are sitting top 3 on the racetrack, with Dennis Moore being your leader. He's second in points. Caden Anderson second. He's third. And Cole Raz, the domination of the season as the 6 gets loose under the 41. They're almost making contact. 41's loose on the outside. Oh, no. Hang on to her, boys.
Look out, Rick Corelli.
Come on.
What a save that was.
Side, man.
Yeah, Corelli, a correction, that's actually Chris White's truck on the bottom. Save there by O'Hare. All of these drivers making some good moves. Hey, by the way, you know what Brightsman truck remind me of? Jason, I'll throw it to you in turn 1. What does that truck remind you of? What throwback?
I'm not honestly too sure, but I mean,
you remember? Do you remember the Camel Smokin' Joe's throwback truck? That's what it looks like to me, except there's a little bit more blue instead of purple.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it earlier. These trucks, though, tonight have been beautiful. Love that number 6 right there. I have the diecast, like Terry was saying before. I mean, these paint schemes here tonight are just awesome. Love Darlington Week. Love it in real life and here on iRacing, because everybody shows their support with the throwback schemes, trying to throw back to the days, the roots, whatever it may be, whatever year. These trucks, drivers, cars, whatever they may be, always seem to put on a show. And there's just something about Darlington with just running these special paint schemes, regardless if it's modern day. These drivers are just trying to put on a show for the fans at home and the fans listening on the radio network. But right now, heading down the front straightaway into turn 1, Caden Anderson under attack from Cole Raz as they go around 1 and 2. Heading for 2 now onto the back straightaway. Raz continuing to try to reel in the 37 of Anderson as they head into turn 3.
Yeah, fastest man on the racetrack that time was that 6. Rick Corelli throwback of Chris White. He ran a 29.6, and he was one who was aggressive on his tires earlier, but Cole Raz starting to get the momentum back. I feel like if he's able to keep that lead car in front of him of 4 at about 2 seconds, once he gets around Cade Anderson, if he can, I think he's going to be the car to beat here.
Yeah, Raz for sure is going to be the car to beat, no doubt about it, because earlier in the race, Dennis Moore slapped the wall a few times. Yeah, the contact with Cade Anderson probably didn't help on lap number 1. But I could just imagine that Dennis Moore, from the last time we took the green flag, burned up his tires a lot. Cole Raz was able to capitalize, and sure enough, as they head down the front straightaway, Cole Raz is trying to look for the race lead as he's running in 3rd position right now, hitting lap 96 and into 1.
Closing in on lap 100. There's the battle for 2nd. You're watching all that transpire. Now a battle for the 6th position with O'Hare, Brightsman, and the driver that brought out the caution of Smith. This all holds together as now those drivers work their way off into turn number 4. Back to start-finish line. It's Dennis Moore, the leader, Anderson and Raz, King and White top 5, and behind them, it's this battle. Brightsman, O'Hare, and Bloom going out into turn number 1.
Through 1 and 2 they go. The 46 of Brightsman all the way to the wall, diving it back down almost to the apron off 2. But right now behind him, O'Hare and Bloom trying to get at it. Right now, here comes Kevin Smith to the inside, trying to get his lap back if the caution came out. But as they head off turn number 4, Dennis Moore continues to lead by almost 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, 2.5 second lead here, and Dennis Moore starting to pull away, but is he using his tires up too much? You take a look back here at Chris White. He's trying to hold off Hutch Strickland's little throwback scheme. I knew the name would come to me. Oh, driver sideways off of 2, and there's a car on the wall. Everybody's having something going on here in this lap.
That was O'Hare and Smith, and somehow or another they still hold it together. Got to check and see how much damage might be on the 41 truck of O'Hare. But other than that, they hold it. No harm, no foul. Trucks keep going on. Back into turn number 1 as we are approaching lap 100 there, Jason.
The 25 of Ryan Bloom stalking the 41 of Stephen O'Hare right now as they wrap around 1 and 2, back to the bottom on 2 and down the back straightaway. Ryan Bloom definitely faster than that 41. He's trying to pick up a spot. He's trying to look for 7. He's closing up to the back bumper of the 41 and up 3, drifts it up high.
All of this going on as they come back to the start-finish line, back to the Geico restart zone. This heats up. It's Caden Anderson and Moore for the lead off of turn number 2. Everything happening, shaping up as we approach also under 50 laps to go for the race and for the season. Down the Boeing back straightaway. Super Friends now trying to come after Moore. Dennis Moore in the Hot Wheels truck, as Terry said, a throwback, you will, to not only John Andretti when he drove the truck, but also the Kyle Petty entry. All of this happening, going back into turn number 1, and we're approaching 100 laps on the board.
You look on the back bumper right now, Caden Anderson under attack from Cole Raz and that plain white number 10 right there, stalking him by just a little less than a car length right now. But Chris White here, he comes in that number 6. The 10 almost gives the bumper to the 37 of Caden Anderson as they wrap around 3 and 4, headed to the start-finish line. Put those 3 trucks under a blanket as we hit lap 102.
Yeah, don't forget, now here comes Brightsman. He's starting to work his way into this picture. All of these drivers fighting for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th position, and it's this close. Lap 102 hits the board. We are closing in to what has been a remarkable regular season.
Coming down to this, as you mentioned, Terry, it is down to the final 47 laps now, 45 laps to go in this event as it is down to the home stretch, not only in this race, but to determine who is going to the playoffs. The Fast 12 will be decided. If somebody's on the outside looking in, you better make your moves, and you better make them now. Oh, and mind you, Terry, already bad luck for a driver like Aaron Cooper or Toby Ritters. They're not here. They're having a bad night. They're already, well, Toby Ritters is in 13th. He's outside the top 12. But for a guy like Aaron Cooper, who's already many laps down, you can say his opportunity to the playoffs is now null and void.
Yeah, and that happens. You don't want to come to a racetrack like Darlington and have your playoff chances on the line. This is never one of the racetracks that I would circle on my board and say, well, I got to make the playoffs. I got to go to Darlington. I already count myself out. I'm like, yep, I'm good. Unless a bunch of cautions happen that puts me in a position to finish up top, I'm good. I'm very content just to bow out. But these drivers, the drivers who are going to the playoffs are going to have to focus on Auto Club. And that is a very polar opposite track to what this track is. A lot of disciplines are going to be on the line in the last 42 laps of this race, and then the laps coming forward.
And by the way, the Cup cars, they're in action, of course, again on Monday at Auto Club for round number 1 of the playoffs in the round of 12. And then, of course, the trucks next Thursday night as well. We got it for you, the round of the championship of the Northwest. And Jason, it's Raz trying to run back in. Those drivers trying to close in on the leader more as they work off 2. Here comes Super Friends.
Yeah, here comes Cole Raz right now, still beating on the back bumper of the 37. Obviously, not literally, but he is closing up so close. I think that Cole Raz is so much better on entry, but the 37 of Anderson is just able to power off the corner as you see him right there on turn 4, continuing to just drive away as they head through turn 1.
Yeah, turn number 1. Every single driver is rim riding at the moment. Caden Anderson's almost touching the wall. Cole Raz is almost touching the wall. And they got a very fast number 6, Chris White, that is just breathing down their neck. If any bobble happens of these top 2 or second and third place drivers, it's game on for that 6. So don't turn it now. If you're watching or you're listening, you're going to stay on board because this race is very much far from over.
Everybody, for the most part, being patient now as you watch them working their way again right there off of that corner. It's Anderson and Raz sizing each other up down the back straightaway. Sorry, Jason, I didn't realize where they were for a second as they go off into turn number 3. Anderson and Raz, second and third. Moore better be patient. Actually, it looks like he is in stealth mode. He knows they're coming. 30, 17, 30. 89, 30, 95. That just updates to 92 and 95. He's got some kind of clear distance on them, but I wouldn't waver for long, Jason. They can reel him in like bait on a hook.
Talked about it earlier there, Wesley. Dennis Moore on the long runs. When they start to get into those green flag runs, his tires start to wear out, thinking that he could probably be burning those up in the beginning of the runs on those fresher tires there. But right now, Caden Anderson, Cole Raz, they hit the start-finish line once again now. Moore that time by ran a 30.92 as they come across the line. 30.83, 0.85 for Anderson and Raz right now. Practically a 10 faster. Would not be surprised if in the next 10 to 20 laps, if they do get to the back bumper of Dennis Moore, but they're continuing to battle for position through the corners right now.
Man, by the time they catch more, them tires and them trucks are going to be sliding like a kid on ice skates. And then they go have no tire to get around the 44. So especially with the way that Caden Anderson and Cole Raz have been fighting, there has been no room for saving. So whatever they had in their arsenal, they're kind of losing it on their own because Dennis Moore just went out there and ran a 30.89. He's all by himself, all by his lonesome. It's a 31.0, a 30.9. For the second and third place driver. They're putting it all on the line here with about 30 to go.
All of this happening now as the leaders come across the start-finish line. It is almost go time here at Darlington. And you got to wonder, will the late race caution happen? Then they settle themselves in. One yellow flag after a problem off the Boeing back straightaway, or correction, actually on the front straightaway when Kevin Smith had an issue. Other than that, it has been a solid green flag run. 111 of 147 circuits in this 200-mile virtual battle of man and machine and their trucks to lock in the fast 12. Here comes now Brightsman F. King, who led some of the race earlier now off of turn number 4. Jason, they're working their way back to you in 1.
Yeah, the 46 of Sean Brightsman right now, not as fast as the leaders right now, but he's trying to work his way up into the top 5 on Tyler King. About a couple tenths slower right there than Tyler King. That last lap around was we right on board with the 21 of King. He looks to the inside of Chris White, who probably had an issue, got loose there off turn number 2, but King is able to pass him for 4th, and now Sean Breitzman sets his sights on Chris White in that number 6 truck.
Yeah, Tyler King went to go make the run happen, couldn't make it go, and that's going to keep Chris White back in the 4th place position, but Tyler King working his way up here into this battle for the 2nd place position. Breitzman, he's there as well. This has been the best battle so far, other than the battle for 2nd, as they're continuously nose to tail. But you talked about late race caution. Well, I think if it's going to happen, probably from about 2nd to 6th is where we could see it happen.
Yeah, there's a storm brewing again, as you mentioned there. As Terry said, Jason, and I mean, it's we're watching this battle. It's been pretty heated there as they work their way off the back straightaway.
Yeah, they're nose to tail right now. The 21 of Tyler King trying to get around the 6 of Chris White, but here comes the 46 of Sean Breitzman. He'll look to the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4, not able to make it work, but the 21 off turn 4, he'll have the run on the 6. Going to try to go down to the bottom, down the front straightaway here as they hit the start finish.
They'll climb the high line of the racetrack, and of course now pulling in lap number 116. Up high goes King. King causes the other trucks to play bonsai on one another. Breitzman up the banking. So also is White, and they save it. Jason off 2.
Crazy save right there. We've seen saves all around here tonight. Only one caution by Kevin Smith earlier on. Surprised we haven't had any more. But the 6, here he comes. He sees this as an opportunity. Slap the wall. He's got to be easy coming on entry. Little bit of damage there on the right front of that number 6 for Chris White. But he might be able to try to jump these leaders, because I will be expecting one more pit stop. The last time these drivers pit was around lap 86, and there's no way these tires are going to be able to make it all the way to the end without probably another pit stop.
Yeah, cheese graters on these machines, close it in on 30 laps to go. Obviously a green flag, money stop to decide it. And Terry Radford, you think, was that the undercut, if you will? Chris White trying to come in early to be an advantage on everyone else. Could this be what he needed to do to win the race?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you're sitting here, you think of the math. It doesn't play out for them to not, because of the way the caution fell. If we wouldn't have had that caution come out, they probably would have tried to go another 10 or 15 laps to make it a potential one-stop race. But you think about it now, it is going to go, if Chris White can win this race off of that strategy, man, everybody's going to be kicking themselves in the butt, because they could come down right now and go win it.
Oh, and mind you, Chris White, let's say he's in the bottom 12, if you will, but he's on the outside looking in. He's got now 1 win on the season for Chris White. 5 top 5s, 11 top 10s, but he's in the number 10 seed. All this resets in the Fast 12. But if you're going to make something happen, Jason, you better do it now, as we're closing in on 25 to go here at Darlington.
Yeah, you said just a few laps ago, Wesley, it is crunch time here at Darlington. It is time to lock in, get up on the wheel, and drive those trucks here tonight at Darlington. Only a handful of laps to go. That could have been the move for Chris White to try to win them the race. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if anybody does try to stay out and make it all the way on those tires. But the way that the laps have fallen here tonight, especially with the caution earlier around lap 85 that Terry talked about, I feel like you have to pit. It is almost a necessity to pit, because these tires are just being grinded up like you said before, a cheese grater. The racetrack is like a cheese grater to these tires. They eat them up. This is one of the oldest surfaces in NASCAR, but that's what makes this track so fun to drive. It's a driver's track. You have to race the racetrack and keep the tires on it without hitting the wall. But right now, though, Dennis Moore, he's being run down by Caden Anderson and Cole Raz. That time around, last time, 31.07 for Caden Anderson, 31.46 for Dennis Moore. The gap now under a second and a half as Anderson and Raz trying to reel in the leader here off 4.
Working off turn number 4, back to the start-finish line. Got to think trucks are going to start pilling in on to the pit lane, and they've already started doing so. Troy Daggett is pitting. Some other trucks are also looking to pit. 10 trucks, mind you, on the lead lap. Chris White, first one that pitted, he's a lap down. Everyone else, multiple laps down. Those trucks have pitted. Everyone else in the top 10, Terry Radford, have yet to pit, and the leader is still Dennis Moore.
Yeah, but for how much longer? It's 1 second separation. Here comes the 72. That's Tedrick. He's coming down pit lane. That was a top 10 driver. So he was sitting 10th there at the time when Chris White came down, and now here he finds himself. Was that the ball move that they needed to say, hey, I'm going to come down pit lane? Is King going to come down? What's Brightsman going to do? But Caden Anderson, man, he's there. He's catching more, and he's catching him quick.
Battle for the lead there, Jason, on the back straightaway.
Yeah, right now, Anderson, he's just continuing to reel in the 44 of Dennis Moore. It's a second gap right now. Anderson last time around with 25 to go, it was a 31.22. This time around, we'll see what the lap times are. But right now, a second gap separating those two. That time around, even identical lap times, 31.32 for the two leaders right now. Caden Anderson is going to reel in Dennis Moore if they continue to go green.
But here's my thing, though, Terry, as the field works their way to 22 to go. If Anderson catches more, and it looks like he's going to do that, oh no! They work off turn 4, but Tedrick sideways in front of the leaders who just pitted. He flat spots the tire, stays to the bottom of the racetrack. No caution flag, but that was really scary, and he's got an ill-handling race truck right now on the setup. But as I said, though, Terry, Anderson is running down Dennis Moore. If he passes him, how soon do you think it will be when the leaders peel off and they pit?
That's a tough one. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't pit. Maybe they try to continue on and say, hey, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to fall in to what you got going on. If I'm the 44, you have really nothing to lose. You're already up there in the points. You're sitting second in the point standings at the moment. You're guaranteed a spot in the 12 if you come down and pit. And that's a big if, because I personally wouldn't. I would sit out there and just fight that thing tooth to nail. I wouldn't care. The only thing he's going to do at this moment is just fight. He's sideways though. I mean, those trucks, they're driving good though. They're driving good, but man, they're angry.
Yeah, it sounds like a DW line right there, Terry. You said they're driving good. Reminds me of back in 2003 with the finish between Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven. All-time great finish. Probably the best finish in NASCAR history, in my opinion. But right now, Caden Anderson, he's looking on the back bumper of Dennis Moore right now for the race lead on turn number 4. Can Caden Anderson be able to make the move around Dennis Moore? But they might have to maneuver some lap traffic here with just under a few laps to go.
Under 20 laps to go now with the leaders work their way back of turn number 4. Here they come. Back down the Boeing back straightaway. This is Anderson. You're on board with him, the driver of the 37. The interval now just about close to a quarter of a distance between them as Anderson is reeling in more days to the bottom of the racetrack. A new referred line, if you will. Down the stretch here at Darlington, they're back to turn 1.
Anderson continuing to just reel in that 44. Dennis Moore's just praying that he's able to just keep the truck out of the wall, hold off Caden Anderson, because it's one thing to get to a truck, but it's another thing to pass him. But the 37 of Caden Anderson closes up to the bumper by about a truck length. Not able to do it there as they head off turn number 4.
Yeah, put a quarter distance in between them, and I mean, they're ripping it off the corner. Turn 4 has not been their favorite part, and Moore's losing a lot of time here. Caden Anderson, while I thought he wasn't able to save tires, he was backing Cole Raz up a tad bit more than I thought, and he's handling just a little bit better. He just bounced off the wall there just a tad bit, but so did the 44, so no harm, no foul. But can we see a 2003 Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch finish here, Wesley?
Man, I don't know. I honestly, I think they're going to be brave enough if they try to, go the distance here. Yeah, I'm kind of like Jason here. I think that might be the strategy. We've seen them do this before. We know Brightsman's very famous in doing the strategy of trying to go to the end. We've had some races recently where drivers have ran out of fuel. Watkins Glen comes to mind in the Cup race where Lake Peterson ran out of fuel coming out of turn number 4. He was able to hold them off to get the win. You got to think the same strategy might be happening here. And again, Dennis Moore, Anderson, comfortably knowing they're one of the fast 12. It's just a race, a W to lock in more points to go towards the championship, chasing off 2, and we got 15 to go at Darlington.
I think over these last handful of laps, Dennis Moore seeing Caden Anderson reel him in, maybe thinking to himself to try to back up the corners a little bit, save those tires, because Caden Anderson and him have pretty much evened out. If not, Dennis Moore's a little bit faster than Anderson right now, as Caden Anderson almost taps the wall off turn number 4, loses a little bit of ground, but it's again still a battle between Dennis Moore and Caden Anderson for the race lead with just under 14 laps to go. But right now, jumping back right now to the 41 of Stephen O'Hare and the 25 of Bloom, they're battling for position. That in fact tends to be the 6th position as they head down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Oh, and a caution looks to come out. Oh my goodness, this
Caution
is going
out.
to trouble the race.
And it's Toby Ritters. Toby Ritters. Looks like Cole Raz has also got collected in it. One of the drivers in the top 5. Toby Ritters, one of the drivers outside the Fast 12 to try to make the playoffs. And the caution is out. 10, 23, up into the wall with one another. They ran out of room. Wow, what a move by Chris White through that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Chris White right there, he was on the brakes really heavily there coming off turn number 2. As you see, we're going to take a look here for the viewers at home watching. The 10 and the 23 side by side through 1 and 2. 23, or I think, that's coming off. I think it's coming off turn 4. Not too sure. Or turn 2. I think it's off turn number 2. The 23 just slides up. And oh my goodness. Yeah, 23 just slides up.
This is in slow-mo.
Right there. Yeah, 23 slides up. 6 truck makes a little bit of contact.
How lucky is Chris White? Look at this.
Right there.
Especially when Raz came back up the racetrack. He got a hit from the left front and the left rear. But I think it's no harm, no foul there, Terry Radford. Wow.
Oh, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on here or not, but the 10 was pissed. He drove right down over into the door, back to the 23, and smoked him to him just to share his displeasure with what went on in that situation. And now everybody comes down pit lane. Oh, of course, everybody's on.
I was going to ask that question next. Do you think you pit? But
Anderson beat him.
Anderson beat him. I think Anderson did a 2-tire stop. I really think Anderson took on 2 tires.
Well, Brett Johnson stayed out, so oh man, this caution just changed everything.
Oh my, Brett Johnson gonna try to thread the needle, if you will, and be the recipient of a, well, I hate to say this, but he's going to be a sitting duck. He's coming down to the beat. I think he had second thoughts, or he was just one of the trucks a lap down, and he's going to pit now. So here you go. He's pitting now. So this will cycle back around to Anderson and Moore, King, Brightsman, O'Hare. Pretty top contenders there in the top 5. Oh, and mind you, second caution of the race, Terry Radford. We have 11 laps to go, and if need be, we go into overtime if we got to do this.
Yeah, I tell you, the 7 backed out of that decision quicker than my ex-wife did our marriage. He went running to pit lane when he realized everybody else came down but you, and that's that's never a good decision when you're at Darlington. But Caden Anderson flipping Dennis Moore there, because you think about going back to the initial start of this race. The guy who was on the high side was Caden Anderson. The low side was the 44 of Dennis Moore. Caden Anderson went in the wall and had to claw his way back up from the 5th place position. Well, maybe a little deja vu, but flipped around. It's Caden Anderson going to put that 44 in the wall, maybe give him a little bit of a hip check going into 1 to bottleneck that field from second on back and allow Caden Anderson to go pull away to a victory.
Going to be a crazy, crazy race here with 10 laps to go. It'll be probably 9 laps remaining when they come back around to the Geico restart zone. The field is going to be given the 1 to go this time by. Jason, what are you thinking? It's going to be a shootout time here now at Darlington. And honestly, would you not have it any other way?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. This is now round 3 between Caden Anderson and Dennis Moore. Moore has won the last 2, but Caden Anderson looking to try to come back and steal this one away from Dennis Moore. I can only imagine that Caden Anderson is not going to give him any room here coming into 1 and 2, and Moore is going to be on the gas trying to get to the top side so he doesn't get cleared by Anderson off turn 3. But I want to say right now, look out for the 21 of Tyler King. He is going to be on the move. He's been very fast here tonight. I would not be surprised if off 2 or into 1, the 2 leaders get to each other, and Tyler King might just be able to slip by for a victory here tonight. But they're coming into the Geico restart zone as they head around 3 and 4.
It's all about the restarts, just like last Sunday afternoon in the 73rd running of the Southern 500, where Eric Jones got around Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. The same can be said about Anderson or Moore, who can be able to get the jump. Field comes to the line. Green flag with Anderson on the restart zone. He has gone. Set sail. 3, 4. Truck links on Moore. Up the bank and they go into turn number 1 with 9 remaining, Jason.
Anderson, great restart for him through the restart zone there as they head off turn number 2, hitting the back straightaway, flying out of turn number 2. It's go time. Pick up as many positions as you can. Can Dennis Moore, though, reel in Caden Anderson again for the race lead? Here they come through 4.
Yeah, coming off at turn number 4, we take a look at King. He's trying to get up to Brightsman. Hey, Brightsman, welcome to the top 3. He was the beneficiary of Cole Raz having that issue. He flipped some positions off of pit lane. You look here with Stephen O'Hare and Ryan Bloom. O'Hare, welcome to the top 5. Another beneficiary of that incident. The 25 of Bloom trying to get his way into the top 5 for the first time tonight as they come down the Boeing back straightaway into turn 3 and 4.
Off of turn number 4, they work their way back to the start-finish line. It'll be 7 laps to go. That's now O'Hare, Bloom. That battle heats up outside the top 5, back at turn 1.
Yeah, 41 right now of Stephen O'Hare just trying to look for a way around Tyler King, though. Oh, no, here we go. Caden Anderson was in the wall in turn 2. 3 trucks under a blanket now down the back straightaway, and Moore is losing a spot. Here comes the 46 of Brightsman to the outside through 4. What a battle as the 44 gets loose. Oh, my goodness. Caden Anderson holds the lead, though, into 1.
Dennis Moore sideways. He goes from the penthouse to the outhouse. Dennis Moore now all the way back outside the top 10. And now Anderson with a problem, Jason, off of turn number 2 as Brightsman and King and Bloom pass him for that spot.
The 2 dominant trucks here tonight at Darlington look to be out. Caden Anderson coming to pit road. Sean Brightsman put him at the top of the charts. No idea what happened to the 37 of Anderson there.
Guys, Caden Anderson and Dennis Moore both coming down to the pit lane. I don't know what happened there, Terry, but it is now 5 laps to go, and Sean Brightsman might just got the wild card of the night to put himself in the lead, and he's setting sail away from
Well, they
King.
tell you all the time that the lady in black could be a you-know-what. Well, she just slapped, and she slapped hard. The 2 dominant trucks, Caden Anderson, Dennis Moore, and Caden Anderson went from hero to 0. His last lap on track, green flag conditions, was the fastest lap of the race with a 29.43, and then the next lap he's fallen down pit lane. He's going a lap down. I believe a black flag had occurred for those 2 drivers, pass through penalty for the 37 and the 44 here at Darlington.
Gotta wonder if something happened on the restart. Nonetheless, they come back down to the start-finish line. 3 laps to go. Sean Brightsman up in front of that 46 Toyota off turn number 2.
Brightsman still leading that time around, a 10th faster than Tyler King. King's time is running out, though. The time is ticking. He's got 2.5 laps to go, but he's under fire from Stephen O'Hare as they head into turn number 3. They're single file as they hit the middle of turns 3 and 4.
laps to go as they work their way back across the start-finish line. Here comes O'Hare. He's now going to try to come after that machine of my King. King throws the block, though, as they work off turn 2.
Here comes Stephen O'Hare right now, looking all over the back bumper, the 21 of Tyler King. But Sean Breitzman is setting sail. He's got the win. He's got the truck pointed in the right direction, coming around for the white flag.
Yeah, we're coming to 1 to go, and Breitzman's gone. He's checked out like people at a hotel room. And what's going to have to settle now is, can Bloom get to the top 3? What's everybody going to do here? Because the 21, he's got to hold the 41 up.
Yeah, Sean Breitzman right now, though, coming off turn number 2. He's got over a second gap right now. But Wesley, back to you. He's coming into 3 and 4 to take the checkered flag.
John Breitzman will be the man coming off of turn number 4 in front of this battle between King, O'Hare, and Bloom. Final time around, checkered flag in the air. Sean Breitzman, the joker of the bunch tonight at Darlington, picks up the win here tonight. Tyler King will finish 2nd, Stephen O'Hare 3rd, Ryan Bloom. How about this? Brett Johnson, somehow, someway, best finish of the year. A top 5 finish for the number 7. And the celebration will begin for number 46 of Sean Breitzman, the all-time winner of Northwest competition. In the Truck Series, he will, more or less, with this win, put himself out of the 9th spot in the points of the Fast 12, put him into the Cup and the Truck Series playoffs. Oh, and by the way, guys, last race of the season, end of the year for the driver, just like Austin Dillon did at Daytona to make the Cup playoffs. Terry, it's exactly the same thing Sean Breitzman did tonight in the trucks.
I mean, he got handed a gift basket, Wesley. Top 2, black flag.
And what's the call for the black flag, by the way? What are we being told? Was it between the restart? And by the way, here's your Northwest high five salute. Here's your post-race virtual demolition derby of chaos and mayhem that they do to celebrate.
Yeah, didn't see the reason for the black flag, but it was a pass-through penalty for those 2 drivers. And Sean Breitzman, hey, you're a winner. You won this season. Take that. And he's doing a donut every which direction he can.
Here is a look at the results for those listening on CRN. We'll give you the rundown. Sean Breitzman is the winner. Tyler King is second. Stephen O'Hare is 3rd. Ryan Bloom is 4th. Brett Johnson, by the way, 5th. 6th going to Kevin Smith. Last truck on the lead lap, by the way. Caden Anderson, the lap down. Followed by also Dennis Moore, the dominators here tonight at Darlington. Shades of what we saw last Sunday in the Southern 500, where pretty much Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. dominated. They come up short of the end. And now, of course, Dennis Moore, 8th. Frank Harris, 9th. Chris White, a solid top 10, but he's also 1 lap down here tonight.
You got Cole Raz back there in 11th, who was in that incident that brought out our last caution. It led a bunch of laps here tonight. Ray Foreigner in 12th, Toby Ritters in 13th, Jaden Ledbetter 14th, Jeb Stabnow in 15th, Chris Carme in 16th, BJ Tidrick in 17th, and rounding out your top 18 is Troy Daggett.
Yeah, and then we take a look here for the rest of the field. John Ottenbacher, 19th there. Casey Garber in 20th. Carl Burt finishes 21st. Paul Newton, 22nd. 23rd was Ron Hunter, and rounding out the field here tonight in the number 71 was Aaron Cooper coming home in 24th.
The race saw 3 lead changes amongst, of course, 2 yellow flags in this event here tonight at Darlington Raceway. When it is all said and done, again, the dominance of Anderson, Dennis Moore, something happened at the end, and of course those 2 dominant trucks opened the door for the driver of Sean Breitzman. Again, as I mentioned, first win this year, final race of the regular season, punches his ticket into the Fast 12. And speaking of the Fast 12, we'll unveil them here tonight before we go off the air unofficially, and then we also get ready for the post-race wrap-up. We're back in a moment. We'll step aside. Sean Breitzman, Tyler King, Stephen O'Hare, all on the way as we get ready for the finish line post-race wrap-up for iRacing on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. And as we go to commercial break, we are also at the top of the hour on CRN. We will be back after 10 seconds of network identification with the Northwest Racing Series here at Darlington. Sean Brightsman, the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to coverage of the Northwest Racing Series. The trucks at Darlington. The Fast 12 will be decided here momentarily, but we've got race wrap-up to get out of the way. I'm Wesley Outland. We've got, of course, Jason Rockefeller now joining us in the booth along with Terry Radford. Tonight, Darlington, especially that last 20 laps, pretty wild. Sean Brightsman picking up the win. We'll talk to him in a minute, but first, let's talk to the third place man. That is the 41 of Stefan O'Hare, and Jason Rockefeller will start with him.
Stefan, you guys had a great race here tonight at Darlington. You were really fast. You know, obviously pit strategies really played a factor here tonight, plus the cautions just didn't fall at the right times. Do you think there's anything else, maybe a different call, maybe a different kind of, adjustment or anything you could have made here tonight to try to make the truck better, to maybe finish up at the top and try to battle for the lead there in those closing laps?
Yeah, Jason. First of all, congrats to Sean. I would say, yeah, the cautions came out in inopportune times. I struggled there in the middle, built a little tight. So that last caution that came out really kind of saved, or at least gave me an opportunity to run up front and battle for the win there. But Dennis had a awesome truck, so unfortunate that he ended his night early. I think the Beaver State Racing guys were pretty strong, and I think that's just a testament to the amount of work and effort that we put into these sets. It's really gratifying to put in all that time and effort, especially the work that Dennis does, and go out there and whoop up on all those guys that have the plug-and-play sets from the conglomerate people.
Well, I like that. Just out of curiosity here, because you roll home P3 here, can you maybe tell us why the top two came down pit lane there and served a pass through, and what was going through your mind when you saw them pull off and then you just jumped to P3?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but it provided an opportunity certainly to go out there and battle. Sean got a great restart, so it was going to be tough to track him down. I had Tyler in front of me, a teammate. I think I was a tick faster than him on that short run, but I wouldn't have been able to catch Sean there either. So P3 is a good spot for us.
Stefan, final question. Segue that into your sponsors as well. Obviously, you're in the Fast 12. You're going to the playoffs. What's it going to take to try to get a championship for the American Touch-Up team?
Going out and collecting trophies. And I think, like I said, the amount of work and effort that the whole team's put into getting sets and making dynamite fast trucks. I think the whole Beaver State Racing team has a great opportunity. We'll go out there and continue to compete and see if we can steal all those trophies.
I I keep intently hitting that refresh button on the point standings to see if it updates. But for right now, Stephen O'Hare with another solid top 5, top 10 finish, which will end him on the regular season with 16 events now, with 1 win, 6 top 5s, and now 11 top 10s, and currently unofficially in the number 8 seed in the run for the Fast 12 in the round of 12 playoffs. That begins at Auto Club next week. Second spot, Tyler King. Tyler, you're a little higher up the scoring pylon. You're in the number 4 seed unofficially going into the Fast 12. Tonight, going to Auto Club. You know you're going to the playoffs, but you don't have a win. Is that one of the things that definitely is definitely irking you? Just like what Stephen O'Hare said, you guys want to win a race, but your take of being second. And of course, then I will let Jason and Terry ask the rest of the questions, but I figure I would just segue into your take of tonight at Darlington.
Yeah, well, first off, congratulations to Sean. He was in the right place at the right time, got it done. I unfortunately feel like I gave this one away. I had a bad shift going from 3rd to 4th, and let Sean get by me going into turn 1, and I got a lot of pressure from Stefan, so yeah, this one kind of stings. Dennis put a great setup under us. He and I were working on it all week long, ran a lot of laps, and I think it showed very much on the racetrack today. Led a lot of laps, got a pole. We just let a victory slip away from us, unfortunately.
Well, so you talked about missing the shift right there. Was it anything that maybe it was just a mind slip? And what kind of gear shifter do you use? Do you use the paddle shifters on the wheel, or do you actually use an H pattern?
Yeah, I'm a paddle shifter, so a little more room for error on that one, unfortunately. When I hit it, I can hit it faster than everybody. But we had Dennis in second. He didn't have a very good visual on the leader, so I was intently watching Caden when he took off. So I was trying to count us down so we had got a good start and keep up with him going into turn 1. And I'm watching Sean, watching Stefan behind me, and yeah, just mistimed it, and yeah, it cost me a win, I think.
Well, Tyler, you sure as heck had a really good run here tonight. I mean, Darlington was really tough to a lot of drivers here tonight. We saw a lot of drivers getting really loose off 2, and especially off turn 4 as the tires wore out continuously throughout those runs. Are you surprised that we didn't really see as many yellows here tonight as some series run here in the past? I mean, do you just think that most of the drivers just ran really hard tonight and were able to save it, or are you just surprised that you didn't really see as many yellows?
Well, I think Tyler King. I think
yeah,
we lost. There you go,
button.
Tyler. Thank you. Never have dead air.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Dead air's bad air. But as far as the question, the tire fall off wasn't so bad, but nothing really surprises me in this league. We can go, flag to flag at Darlington, Dover, no problem, and struggle at easy tracks. It's pretty strange sometimes, but we got a great group of guys here. Everybody that puts the show on, LSRTV, Sean, Jeff, everybody that shows up every week, they put in a lot of effort, and we're really proud of our league.
One more question. I got to ask you this. It's just updated. You're going to stay in the number 4 seed, Tyler. What do you think the playoffs are going to be like here when we fire up next Thursday night at Auto Club?
Well, like Stefan said, we need to win. We need wins. We need wins. We need wins. We need checkered flags. We need trophies. We need it all. I know we're going to be a little disadvantaged, each one of us, each round. So, yeah, we got to go for trophies. Hopefully, we can put our Beaver State racing trucks up front and advance to the Final Four.
Well, speaking of number 4, the number 4 seed going into the race will stay in the number 4 seed. When it updates, we'll unveil the Fast 12 before we sign off tonight. That's the driver, of course, of the number 21 entry of Tyler King. We go to victory lane. First win this year, last race of the regular season. Shades of what Austin Dillon did at Daytona to punch his ticket in the NASCAR playoffs. Sean Breitzman done exactly the same thing. He climbs also in the standings as he gets that first win. And now not only do you have a race win, Sean Brightsman, you also put yourself in the catbird seat for not only the Northwest but the Truck Series Championship. Your take of tonight, winning here at Darlington, and the strategy to be there at the end, especially whenever we saw the issues between Caden Anderson and Dennis Moore.
Yeah, what a crazy end to the night. I kind of got a little lucky there. About halfway through, I didn't fill up the tank. Only got like half a one can. So it was nice to get that yellow right at a couple laps before I was going to pit, and kind of got us back on the strategy with the leaders and all that. So overall, great run for the Brights Boutique Toyota Tundra. Sucks for the guys in front there. I mean, I'm guessing they got an incident point and had to do a pass through there, because if you hit 12 incidents in our league, you'll have to do a pass through. So I guess they got a black flag there, but right place, right time. Heard Tyler miss a shift. What a great night for me.
Well, I remember a certain saying a couple years ago that a certain driver had a golden horseshoe put somewhere. It's a good time to find that golden horseshoe, Sean Brightsman, because you won going into the playoffs. And while it's totally polar opposite of tracks, Darlington to Auto Club, this momentum going to ride you into Auto Club. Maybe you can go 2 for 2 and open the playoffs with a win.
You know, that'd make it this playoff run a lot easier. I just get a win right there at the first round, first race of the first round. I'm good with it. I think we can. We've got a good team together. We just have to work a little harder to create some setups. We're running on empty a little bit, and we just need to refresh our setup building exercises. And I think we'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, Sean, first off, congratulations to you guys here tonight at Darlington. One heck of a race for sure for us up here in the booth for Wesley, Terry, and I. But back to Terry's question here. You just talked about Auto Club. These next 4 races are totally different racetracks if you really look at it. How do you and your team and your guys around you here on iRacing, how do you guys go on and pursue the playoffs here as we head to these next 4 races? We have Auto Club, the Charlotte Roval, Iowa, and Texas. How do you expect those races to go for you guys over in that 46 can?
You know, Jason, I feel pretty good about it. I'm looking forward to all the races here in this first round. All of them stand out as fun tracks. We're gonna 4016 at least is going to be playing at one event at a time. So we're not going to be looking forward to Charlotte and running a bunch of practice laps before we hit Auto Club. So we're going to hopefully rally around, work on the setups hard, and build a setup for that week. So that way, I mean, we can sweep the playoff week. Or the playoff round. That's even better than just winning one.
Sean, segue this into your sponsors also as we'll get off the air here. You're in the playoffs for not only the Cup Series, but now the trucks. How do you adapt and prepare mentally to be in this virtual battle every Monday and Thursday night? And obviously, being a champion before in the Cup Series, success in the trucks, all-time winner of the Northwest Racing Series. Obviously, how do you prepare? How do you have to stay focused?
You know, I think the focus is there with just being in the playoffs. I mean, the only thing we need to do is show up for practice, right? We need to focus on building setups, working on setups, tweaking setups. I love racing with the Northwest Racing Series and everybody in it. I love being on LSRTV. So the more wins you get and the more battles you're doing, I mean, it's going to be seen and it's going to be known that we're going to be a force to reckon with throughout the playoffs.
Final race of the regular season here tonight at the Lady in Black in Darlington, and Sean Brightsman picks up win. He will move to number 8 seed with now his 6 top 5, 12 top 10s to add on that win. Of Puyallup, Washington, originally now from Tucson, Arizona, Sean Brightsman. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the unveiling of the Fast 12. Now, of course, we do not have it on the scoring ticker on the broadcast, but we'll just do it one by one. And then Jason and Terry, I'll get your thoughts and analysis on it. First off, I've got to mention drivers that get an attaboy that are on the outside looking in. First, John Ottenbach struggles here tonight. What might have been if he wouldn't have had the problems? Maybe he could have been in the higher seat. He missed his transferring. Correction. Okay, I'm understanding now. They're actually saying that John Ottenbacher is in. So actually, John Ottenbacher is in. We'll let you know. Win and in. KC is out. So C. Garber is not in. John Ottenbacher, with his win earlier in the year, has put him in the playoffs. That victory, by the way, that happened back in March, believe it or not, when the season started, Terry and Jason, at Daytona. That win for John Ottenbacher along this way has put him in the playoffs. So right now, let's go from the top to the bottom, as it looks like Garber is out. Toby Ritters is going to be out. Jeff Stabnow is the playoffs for the Cup Series, but not for the trucks. Aaron Cooper also, and Troy Daggett with bad luck tonight. Obviously, he couldn't put that 99 Texaco Haviland Toyota in as well. This is your Fast 12 unofficially. If it changes, we'll let you know. And obviously, they'll put out a post on social media, Northwest Racing Series and LSRTV. Cole Raz will be the #1 seed with 5 wins, 1 pole, 13 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. Dennis Moore with 3 wins, the #2 seed. Caden Anderson, the #3 seed with 3 wins. Also, for Tyler King, by virtue of no wins but being consistent unofficially, he is the #4 seed with 9 top 5s and 15 top 10s. Paul Newton, with 3 wins this year, the dominator of the road courses, is in the #5 seed. Ryan Bloom is in the playoffs, the 2021 ARCA Northwest champion, the #6 seed, with 1 win on the year. Stephen O'Hare with 1 win on the year in the playoffs with 6 top 5s, 11 top 10s. Stephen O'Hare, again, #7 seed. Sean Brightsman, unofficially the #8 seed with his win here tonight at Darlington, 6 top 5s and 12 top 10s. Dan West Jr., I think he might be in unofficially on the #9 seed. Christopher White is in. Kevin Smith is in with 2 wins. Obviously, what a comeback after being on a vacation that we thought it might have hurt him in the run for a championship. Came back to win. And then John Ottenbacher is your Fast 12. Now, again, this is unofficial. It might change again. They might tally up the points, Terry Radford, and it might completely make things not what they're calling right now, but unofficially on the fly to unveil something before we get off the air, my friend. Those are your Fast 12 that will race for the championship in the round of 12 beginning next Thursday night here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, and you can't have a tighter field. Cole Raz, Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson have been absolutely flying so far. They had a stranglehold on this race here at Darlington, which is the toughest track to race on in real life and in the sim. I would imagine that those 3 are going to be great. But if they have an issue like what they had tonight with Dennis Moore and Caden Anderson, I wouldn't be surprised if you look at a Tyler King. Paul Newton's got a road course that he can look forward to. We saw him win at the Glen. These playoffs are going to be a battle of attrition, and next week is going to be a draft track, wide open, full throttle. I'm taking actually Ryan Bloom to win that race.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been informed as well, Jason, I'll get your thoughts in a moment in the corner, is official with the accept change of the #12 spot going to John Ottenbacher instead of Kenneth Garber. It is Cole Raz, Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson, Tyler King, Paul Newton, Ryan Bloom, Stephen O'Hare, Sean Brightsman, Dan West Jr., Christopher White, Kevin Smith, and John Ottenbacher, and a partridge in a pear tree that will run for the championship beginning next week at Auto Club.
Yeah, I mean, what a race we saw here tonight for sure, and it just goes to show you that every race, every lap matters here. You saw, with all these drivers. You said just a correction. You did say that John Ottenbacher is in, correct?
That is correct. With his Daytona Series win, he will be in. If you win, you're in, and the #13 seed will bump up to #12. Kenneth Garber will go out because he doesn't have a win by virtue of points.
So right there, what you said, back to my point, every race, every lap matters. If John Ottenbacher would have not won at Daytona, then he probably would not be sitting here with a chance to go run for a championship, for the remainder of the year. But back to what I was saying about Darlington, I mean, what a race we saw here tonight. Very unfortunate circumstances for the 37 of Caden Anderson and the 44 of Dennis Moore here tonight at Darlington. I mean, what a race. We saw drivers swap the lead a few times, predominantly, dominated by the 44, the 10, and the 37. And at the end, Sean Brightsman comes out on top, picks up his win, for his first win of the year, I believe, in that 46 truck. And now he's got some momentum going into the playoffs. In Auto Clubs next week, that track, you can kind of compare it to Darlington, but at the same time, you can't. It's another worn-out racetrack, multi-groove. You're going to have to try to keep the tires on it. Run hard in the beginning, make sure you save them, and fuel strategy is always in the mix at Auto Club. So I'm really looking forward to Auto Club and really in general the remainder of the playoffs. We got a great next 4 set of tracks coming up that are all different, so it should be an exciting one here for the Northwest.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun 4 weeks for the round of 12 and the Fast 12. It kicks off again next Thursday night right here at Auto Club Speedway. Round number 2 will be at Charlotte, and I don't mean Charlotte Motor Speedway, I mean the Roval at Charlotte. Iowa, a short track that runs like a super speedway. That facility, it's the 3/4 mile track, will host along with the 1.5 miles at Texas Motor Speedway. At the end of that event on October the 6th, 4 drivers are eliminated, and then it is the round of 8 for the Fast 4. The remaining 8 will then battle, and 4 are eliminated, and that includes races after a week off. My goodness, I know they'll need it. Then they come back to Vegas, Talladega, the wild card. I would think the Roval and Talladega are probably the wild card of this series. Dover, Phoenix, the round of 8 will then become 4 drivers racing for the championship. First driver in the round of 4 that crosses the line, whether winning or position, will determine the champion. And yes, it will not be at Phoenix. The penultimate race is at Phoenix, Terry Radford. The championship will be decided at another abrasive 1.5 mile track. That's the 250-miler finale at Homestead, Miami.
Well, Homestead traditionally for years was NASCAR's go-to championship Ford weekend, as they called it. And no surprise that the Northwest Truck Series puts a track that is a skill track. It's a driver's track. You got people right now that are qualifying for the eNASCAR College Series that iRacing's putting on at Homestead, and drivers are having a hard time driving that place because it's loose, it's abrasive, it's tire wearing. You have to be on your game all the time, and if you're going to crown a champion, you don't want to crown it at a cookie cutter track like Phoenix where you just go slow as possible and you can win the race. You want to challenge them. Put them out there at Homestead and see which one of the best 4 or the best 1 out of 4 is going to win it.
It's going to be fun. Oh, and by the way, the car state battle for round 1 at Auto Club as well on Monday night. Don't forget our next broadcast coverage of iRacing on LSRTV and simulcast on the Community Radio Network is in less than 48 hours. That is this Sunday night. It is the Major Series presented by Majors Garage American Sportsman Bracket as they get ready for 250 miles, 64 laps at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. That is a full 100% race. It should be fun on the road course. Oh, and mind you, the Virginia 300 for the NASCAR late models coming up also on Sunday night, September 25th. Ironically, the night after the race for the real grandfather clock in the Valley Star Credit Union 300 as well. We swing back off into the corners for one more time. Jason Rockefeller, great job working with you. Your final take of here tonight at Darlington. We move on to the playoffs next Thursday.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, Darlington just showed that, this is a driver's track. And unfortunately, with the 2 errors by the 44 and the 37 here tonight, unfortunate circumstances for them. But Darlington showed, what drivers could come out on top here tonight. I mean, Sean Brightsman, first win of the year, I believe it was for him here tonight. He's a driver who's got momentum heading into the playoffs. He sure enough could probably be a driver who could maybe even be an underdog. He could show up to Homestead and go win it all. But Darlington tonight here did show that it's still, what we all know and love, beating and banging, ripping the wall and just multiple groups of racing. It sure enough did not disappoint here tonight.
Harry Radford, always a pleasure working with you, buddy. I know you're going to follow me the rest of the way as well. The regular season's done. Now it is the postseason, the new season, the survival season to determine what 12 drivers will be a champion at the end of 9 weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait to finish out the rest of the season with you, Wesley. And I'm telling you, I got to put my money. You're not going to bet against Cole Raz, Dennis Moore, Caden Anderson. And I'm going to take your son's route. I'm going to take Caden Anderson as the champion. Because apparently you can never go wrong with Caden.
That's true. It should be exciting. It should be fun. And you never know what can happen. As, by the way, follow the Northwest Racing Series on Facebook at Northwest Racing Series. Join them. Become a member. If you're a member, if you are reside in the Pacific Northwest, if you'd like to be a part of the series, signed up for next year. As fast as we move into the playoffs, God knows, no doubt, we'll be ready to fire back in again for another year, which will be season 4 for the Cup Cars, season 10, a decade of the Northwest Racing Series for the trucks. Well, we got to get season 9 in the playoffs out of the way. Thanks. Great job again by John Jason Rockefeller. Cover the action in the corners of turn number 2 to the back straightaway, the Boeing back straightaway. And for Terry Radford, I'm Wesley Outland. Mason Heimbaugh, phenomenal job on production, filling in for Mr. Charles Wooten. As always, follow us at LSRTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's here in sports as well. I'm Wesley Outland. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Archives will be up in a bit. Congratulations to Sean Brightsman, winner tonight at Darlington. With that win, he puts himself as one of the drivers of the Fast 12 for Cup and Truck of the Northwest. May the playoffs in. Cup is on Monday.